Big Bang, primordial ooze, divine hands of the benevolent creator. All definite possibilities, but recent events have given me doubts about the benevolent creator. The Crow Salvation stars Eric Mabius, Kirsten Dunst, and is directed by Bharat Nalluri. So guys, if you remember a week ago, I did a review for The Crow City of Angels. So I thought, hey, why not go ahead and close it off with The Crow Salvation. Now this is the UK edition. You can't actually find this on Blu-ray in the States. So I went ahead and imported it. But you're gonna have to have a region-free player to play it. So anyway, on to the review. Now I'm gonna be honest, after the second Crow movie, it was just a huge box office bomb. I did not think that they were gonna make a third Crow movie. And then I remember hearing somewhere around like 97, 98 that a new movie was in production. And I'm not gonna lie, I was interested because I am a fan of the comic, the Crow character. Did I think it was gonna be nearly as good as the original? No, I don't think there'll ever be a Crow movie as good as, you know, the Brandon Lee Crow movie. It's just a masterpiece. But I'm always down for a new Crow story, and I figured, hey, why not give it a shot? But this movie was really in development hell, and it took quite a few years to finally be released. And I believe it was released in maybe one theater in the States over a weekend. So I had to wait until it actually came out on video to finally watch it. Now in The Crow Salvation, Eric Mabius, he plays Alex Corvus, and he is on trial for the murder of his girlfriend, Lauren Randall. The opening scene of this movie is an execution. He is being fried in the electric chair, and while he's being electrocuted, he can see the real killer. And this is a guy with a scar on his forearm. It looks like those metal rods that are just implanted in his forearm. And this is kind of a whodunit movie. It's kind of like The Fugitive. It's the one-armed man, but in this case, it's the man with the scar on his arm. So the Crow brings Alex back to life, and throughout the rest of this movie, he not only is avenging the death of Lauren, but he's also trying to find out who killed Lauren. And I think that makes this story interesting. It was refreshing that they didn't go with the same tired plot that they did, you know, in the first two movies. That had already been done before. So let's add a new twist to it and let's make it a whodunit. And that's what they did. And I think that worked because, you know, throughout the whole movie, you're guessing, you're wanting to find out who this guy is in the end. Now this movie does have some good things about it. It's got some really bad things about it too. But let's get into the good. One thing I really liked about The Crow Salvation is the look of the Crow. He looks very different than the first two. And I like the way that he becomes the Crow because after he's electrocuted and he comes back to life, his face is burned. His skin literally rips off of his face, and what's left is the crow scars. So he doesn't really have makeup on. He has scars that are in the form of the iconic Crow makeup. And I thought that made him look really interesting. Also, Eric Mabius is a good actor. I did enjoy him in this role. He has also been in the first Resident Evil, but for the most part, he is a TV actor. I've seen him here and there, but I thought he really held his own in this movie. You know, he did have some tough lines to pull off because the script in this movie is not the best. And so some of the lines kind of came off as cheesy, but I thought he handled them pretty well for the most part, at least in the present day scenes. And like the first two movies, I do really enjoy the music in this movie and the score. As a matter of fact, I have the soundtrack for The Crow Salvation, and it's a really damn good soundtrack. I especially love the song by the Infidels called Bad Brother. And that music is used in the scene at the beginning when he is escaping the prison. And I do enjoy that scene. That is a really cool scene. Also, this movie does have a few actors that are kind of before their prime. Kirsten Dunst did this before she did the first Spider-Man movie. And then Walton Goggins, who is actually in The Hateful Eight. And one of my favorite parts of that movie, he was actually in this movie. And they both do fine acting jobs. And I'm a Halloween fan, and Don Shanks, who was Michael Myers in Halloween 5, he also has a cameo at the beginning of this movie. Most people probably don't know that. And finally, I do enjoy a lot of the kill scenes, the revenge scenes. Now, these scenes aren't groundbreaking or anything, but with the use of the music and Eric Mabius, I actually had a lot of fun with these scenes. Actually, that's a fun part of all the Crow movies, or at least the first three. It's always fun to watch the Crow, you know, finally get his revenge. And one scene that I loved in particular was when Alex was in the car with one of the detectives, and he basically forces him to slam right into the side of a bus, and both their bodies just go right through. But of course, the crow can't die. And then he gets out, walks away from the car, and cool guys walk away from explosions fashion with Danzig playing in the background. Freaking awesome. Okay, now let's get into the bad of the Crow Salvation. I think the first thing that really just irks me about this movie is it feels like a TV movie. It doesn't feel like a cinematic adventure. And that is just a reflection of the low budget of this movie. They shot this movie for $10 million, which isn't that much for a Hollywood movie. And so they had to cut corners wherever they could, and I think one of the corners they cut was the cinematography. Like I said, this does look like a TV movie, and it does take away some of your enjoyment. Also, the flashback scenes. Oh my God, these flashback scenes are just cringe-worthy. They didn't really take the time to build the relationship between Alex Corvus and his girlfriend. So it seems like these scenes are really just tacked on after the fact. And there's really no chemistry between the two whatsoever. And they are painful to watch. And finally, the bad guys. The detectives are all just pretty much throwaway characters. I always forget who the bad guys are in this movie, or I just don't care who they are. And I do like that they tried something different. They weren't just your normal druggy thugs like we've seen in the last movie. But the whole corrupt cop angle has just been played out so much, and it's been done so much better in many other movies. And I think by the time you do find out who the killer is, you just don't care by the end. Now, I used to like this movie better than City of Angels, but after revisiting the two, I actually think City of Angels is a little better. But you can still have a good time with The Crow Salvation if you're a diehard Crow fan, or just a Crow fan in general, I guess. So for that, I'm gonna give this movie a humdrum. It's definitely not a purchase worthy unless you're a Crow fan, like I said. But there is some fun to be had throughout. Now, let me go ahead and just say, I am not gonna review The Crow Wicked Prayer. I have never finished that movie. I saw half of it, and it is the worst movie, not just Crow movie, one of the worst movies I have ever seen. And I'm amazed that this movie got made. I think I literally threw things at my TV in the middle of The Crow Wicked Prayer, and I felt bad for Brandon Lee at the time, really. So you know what? I will go ahead and give you my review for The Crow Wicked Prayer right now. It is pure shit. There you go. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on The Crow Salvation? Looking forward to hearing them. I've had a lot of fun going through these 3 Crow movies. I'm currently in the middle of my Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but I'm very impulsive with my reviews, and I bounce, back and forth. And I've been getting a lot of requests to do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, so I might jump into that first Texas movie pretty soon. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching Drum Dums. I appreciate all that you guys do for me. I appreciate all the nice comments that you leave for me. I really get humbled by it. I get so many nice comments, and it just makes me want to strive to do a better job for you guys. And that's why I work so hard on these reviews. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Drum Dum out.